Well, time to get back down to that Oliver and see if we can't get all that bad diesel out. Put some fresh diesel in, new filters, and get it started. Problem is, can't drive down there again. Nobody here to watch the horses, so can't get through the gates. Which means I gotta schlep the battery, my bag of tools, the diesel fuel, and my waste diesel bucket. Guess I'm gonna be making multiple trips. Well, there she be. Oh, well, it's kind of depressing how much shorter the days are getting. I'm not sure, it's probably about 6:30, but the sun's already getting low enough in the sky that it's not reaching down here in the deeper woods too well. So, oh, what's that there? Oh, a frog. Anyways, loaded up with bug spray. Hopefully that'll keep them at bay long enough for me to get this done. All right, step one, drain the tank. And it's interesting, they added this pump afterward, this little electric lift pump, fuel pump here. And I'm looking at the line, comes out of the tank. They didn't bother cutting it shorter to put this pump in, they just let it coil here. And then the line comes out of the top of that pump, it goes to the fuel filter, enters the top of the fuel filter way up here. This is actually at about here on the tank. So I could see once the fuel level dropped down to here, gravity feed into that filter would not work. So that's probably why they were having trouble running it when they were running it low on fuel. But that's at least the theory I would subscribe to. And that bracket's stock, so it's kind of interesting that that's like that. Well, all right. So what I'm going to do is to make the fuel flow. I'm going to disconnect this lower line here, so it's actually a nice long hose. I can pull it down to my bucket. I could just drain it all directly into my big pail here, but what's the fun of that? I mean, don't we want to see what kind of nasties are in there? So I've got the line disconnected there, and now I'm going to turn on that petcock at the bottom of the tank. So as far as water contamination goes, this fuel's starting to look a little better on that front, but it's got a lot of sediment and nasties in there by the looks of it coming out. Boy, when I filled that jug up and I had to move the hose off to the side, I tried lifting the hose up above the bottom of the tank to stop the flow, and it actually wouldn't stop at all. It had a pretty good siphon action going, so that might be what helps it keep feeding into that fuel filter when it gets low on fuel. Would explain why the stock setup didn't have that fuel pump in there. But anyways, that's taken a while to drain, so it's perfect time for me to head back to the truck and get the battery, because that's the one thing I couldn't carry in this trip. And the fuel's actually starting to look pretty clean now, but it's still got that stale diesel smell. It's almost like I think kind of like a turpentine is the best way to describe it, but since it's stale fuel, and I brought clean diesel with me, a couple gallons, we're gonna drain the whole tank. That way I can also make sure I get hopefully a little last bit of sediment in the bottom there, and then I'm gonna pull the sediment bowl out, try and clean that. Well, I'm just about ready to pass out from bringing that battery down here. Today's the first day where I had to walk all the way down to this deepest part of the trail with the battery. And I was gone so long, my jug filled up. I didn't have much waste fuel in this container when I brought it out today. So I must have drained off at least 4 gallons of diesel. So I shut the petcock, and I'm just gonna have to deal with the new fuel mixing with the old fuel. But at least I got everything that would be on the bottom of the tank. All your water and everything would tend to be down the bottom since it's been sitting for a week now. So I should have most of the heavy contaminants out of there. And then, of course, as I continue to run lower on fuel as I'm running it and to put fresher fuel in, eventually it'll get all of that stale stuff out of the system. But I just can't bear the thought of having to go back and get another container, because I live several miles from here. It's actually a whole nother town over. big town. Well, not really, but it's a farm town, so I'm probably 8 or 10 miles to home from here. Okay, I just got the sediment bowl off. Ready for this? How's that for sediment? I mean, let me get something to poke in there so you can get an idea how deep that is. Yum! I'd say that's a tad better. Oh, I hate when that happens. It's really tight quarters under there, and I was trying to feel around to get the bowl in place, and the keeper fell off, so hopefully I can hang that back in there without being able to see. It's a good thing I got long fingers, good manual dexterity, and long arms, because otherwise I never would have got that back on. I got it on from the other side because there's no clearance on this side with all these hoses in the way. There's some hydraulic lines right here that are in the way. I couldn't even feel a gasket in there, and I know it didn't drop off because it would have fell right on top of the transmission bell housing here, and it's not there. So I'm hoping there was some kind of a seal in there that I just couldn't feel. Otherwise that's going to leak like a sieve. Alright, I'm going to reconnect my fuel line here and install the new primary fuel filter. I cleaned out this rust and everything that was in the housing. Here's the new primary filter. It's a 3073 Napa Gold Series filter, and that comes with a new. Actually, it comes with 2 gaskets. I'm sure one is not used on this application. Damn it, my bug spray's losing power. Either that or I missed a spot. Been swarmed by mosquitoes since I got here, but I just got bit. We got a Triple E virus and West Nile virus in the state. Alright, so I got the filter in. Came with this little tiny washer here, which usually is for the screw on the top that if it's got a screw on the bottom or a bolt up through the bottom, might go on there, but there's a little washer on here, but I can't get this out, and even if I could, I can see by the diameter of that it's not that size, so I'm not going to bother with that. Alright, so I'm going to install a new filter. Normally I would preload this filter with diesel, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a line and let the fuel run in that way. Alright, changed my mind. In the interest of saving time, I did pre-fill it since I've got the can of fuel right here. Right, there's the secondary fuel filter there. I got the new one, and somehow that cap on the top, oh, there we go, just unscrews. That's pretty easy. Oh man, look at the water in there. Wow. I'm smelling what's coming out of this filter. It doesn't even smell like fuel. It's got so much water contamination in it. Wow. Alright. Let's see. We get a gasket here. Take that puppy off. I'd love to be able to get that stuff out of the bottom of that filter. I don't know how you do that. Oh, the new filter, the gaskets are actually stuck to it already. And new filter's marked with arrows, just like the old one. It says, this end installed towards filter base casting. Okay, so that means this end down. Okay, I just used a big rag to sop up as much of the water and fuel mixture in the bottom of that housing as I could. You know, if I was back at where my tools are, I'd blow it out with compressed air gladly, but it's not an option tonight. So I'm gonna have to, you know, the good thing is that center thing that's sticking up in the middle, I don't know if you can see it, but that's where the fuel goes down into the injector pump. So all of that water and crud that's in the bottom there, that had entered on the primary side of the filter. So in other words, the filter would be stopping a lot of that crud from actually getting to the injector pump, as it should. Okay, now this little knob on the top is actually a bleeder. So we can open this up like that, so that as fuel comes in, air will be pushed out, and that's how you bleed that particular filter in this part of the system. So now I'm gonna hook my battery up. I'm gonna see if I can use that lift pump. Let's see if the lift pump will push the fuel into here and bleed the system. Might not work though, because the mechanical pump is between the lift pump. It's between the primary filter and the secondary filter is the mechanical pump. And if the engine's not turning, that mechanical pump might not allow anything to pass, depending on what kind of pump it is. So, you know, if it's a gear pump or a piston pump or whatever. Anyways, so I'll just leave this open for now. Start by opening my pet car. Now I'm going to dump the rest of my good clean fuel into the tank. Okay, battery's in. So, don't want to use the starter to turn the engine just yet and run the battery down. If I can use that lift pump, I use a lot less power. So if I run my positive to this red wire right here, that pump will start running. Alright, that pump, I couldn't hold the wire on and let you listen to it at the same time, but that pump starts going really fast because it's not really getting much pressure, back pressure, and then that clacking slows down as it starts to build pressure. So it started to slow down, so then I knew it was starting to actually push fuel, and then lo and behold, I was watching the bleeder here and fuel started coming out of my bleeder. So now I know I've got fuel all the way up to this point. So now I can crank the engine, and on a wing and a prayer, maybe she'll fire. Okay guys, let me see if I can get this camera looking at something for you. I don't know. Hopefully that's looking at the stack and it doesn't fall off. I've got my what you would call it, I've got my throttle up. Alright, give her a little rest. Maybe I should see if I can get that pump to run some more. Oh yeah. Wonder if any air is bleed out of that valve if I open it. No air, just fuel. That's good. Let's try again. Oops. Oh, I got smoke going in there and coming out. That means some fuel's getting in there. Now I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, why don't you use the ether? Well, you know what? Let's see. The ether helps. Gotta rest that starter. If nothing else, I'm smoking out these mosquitoes. I sense we're close. As soon as I kill the starter, though, it won't sustain. We're real close, though. I might have to bleed the injector lines. Really hoping I could avoid that. Try easing back on the throttle some. I don't think she's gonna go tonight. I don't know, you guys have been watching this whole time. Hopefully you've just been listening, if you couldn't see anything. It's officially dark. I think I'm gonna, I mean the sky's still light, but down here in the woods, I'm getting to the point where I can't see diddly. Alright, I'm gonna try one more time. Just give it a good shot of ether. Nope, ain't happening.